And what influences you in design besides obviously the things we discussed? Are there other parts, other sectors that you think are closely related to design or are personally related to yourself?
You know, like when I was a student, every project I did had the name of a film, for
Right.
example. So, you know, cinema is certainly something that influences me. Architecture influences me, you know, fashion and certain, you know, really interesting people in the fashion world do interest me. You know, it's a world of influence. It's a world of inspiration all around us. That said, I don't think it is something that you sort of copy or that you take this element and you transfer it to another field.
Right.
I think each field has its own, needs to have its own reasons to apply, you know, certain things, certain elements. So I think it's the world of ideas which tends to transmit itself into all these other creative fields that I tend to follow and be inspired by.
Great. How about any objects, everyday objects that you envy? Maybe for their design, maybe for their function, something that maybe you look up to. Is there such a thing, or
you know, probably the object that I think the most when I'm outside of work is my surfboards.
Great. Okay.
I have lots of surfboards,
yeah,
of all different kinds, for windsurfing, for kiteboarding, for snowboarding, for skiing, for surfing, of course. And I'm, you know, it's constantly a study and you know, but this is what I do when I'm, you know,
when you're not thinking of design.
Work. But you know, but in a way, it's thinking about design as well,
right?
You know, I'm in love with the idea of creating, building things that have meaning, but I'm not somebody who is sort of constantly lusting over, you know, the next object. You know?
Okay, so you're living in the moment, going with the flow, right?
You know, I mean, I love, you know, there's certain things that I am in love with. You know, like the whole '70s period and Italian design from the '70s that was so experimental and kind of pushing and stretching boundaries. And you know, there are like some things that I have around in my life that just give me a smile every day. But you know, that's you know, things that you encounter throughout, you know, throughout.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because there's another thing that I've been hearing around, which is this experimentation in Italian design, and all this pushing is kind of dying down. Do you believe that's true?
I think on some level, yes, it is. I mean, but I do think it doesn't matter whether it's Italians doing it or whether it's the Dutch doing it or whether it's, you know, I don't know, the Greeks doing it or the Israelis doing it. You know, it doesn't really matter. I mean, this is people are pushing, people are experimenting. I honestly think that nationalities and continents mean zero, nothing. When I ask my son where he's from, he says, I'm from Earth. And he taught me that I'm from Earth too. And I think that's what matters. Experimentation will continue. Doesn't matter if it's somebody in London or Milan who's doing it.
Right. And what kind of trends and tendencies do you forecast, either in style or either in technology, in your opinion?
Well, I think this move towards notions of sustainability really are, as well as this notion of open design, participation of you know, design that includes the participation of the public, of non-designers. I think these two notions are connected, and they're gonna drive huge amounts of change moving forward. I think you know, advertising and marketing are fields that are being diminished now, and that people are communicating directly. There's certain transparency and direct dialogue that's happening, and that's going to push forward many companies to really rethink the way they produce things, the way materials they use, the you know, the logistics and the distribution, and the next 15-20 years, every field has to be, you know, fully reinvented, and design is a big part of that. So, you know, I think we have a lot of work ahead of us.
But you're confident it will head to that direction? You don't think?
Of course. What else? It's not like we're going to go backwards and start driving, you know, 1960s giant American cars.
Right, muscle cars.
You know, of course, it's going to move forward.
Right. No, it just seems that people are not very into that. Yeah, they don't. I don't think they've realized how important and how direct it has to be.
Yeah, but this is why what we do is so important.
Right.
Because good design, good design that convinces you that, oh, this is a good direction. Sustainability is the right thing. Like, can deliver pleasure and the right function to me. That makes me change my mind maybe about a certain field. So for me, my idea of the function of design is that design accelerates the adoption of new ideas and new ways of consuming and new ways of living. That's what design does. It makes it go faster.
Right.
So we can't stop working because the world will slow down.
Right. Great. A question about younger designers. I mean, I've been talking around with people that are either starting now or still studying, and it seems that there's a lot of fear in their minds, a little bit of uncertainty. Do you think that's justified? Do you think it's a process every designer goes through?
Of course. I mean, when you're a student, when I was a student, I was terrified.
Yeah.
I could never speak to you when I was a student. I was in a corner, like, scared, of everything. Of course, I mean, that's part of, there's a lot of uncertainty when you're a student. There's a lot of uncertainty economically. There's a lot of uncertainty with the world around us. But it's also a time where people can be a lot more entrepreneurial, where people can start things, when people can communicate so much faster than they used to be able to, where people can distribute ideas in a new way. I think we live in a world where we have a lot more power. Yes, I mean, if you're a designer and you want to be hired by a company that is the only company you want to work with, by the state or some very large enterprise, and you want to work there for the next 40 years of your life, maybe you are a little bit worried. But if you want to be somebody who participates to new ventures and entrepreneurship and change, then I think this is an amazing place to be a young designer.
Great. So how about you? What's the future hold for you? What are your ambitions?
I don't, it's funny because people always ask me this, I never know what's next.
Right.
The smallest things can become the richest things. I could, of course, it would be fun to design an airplane or a car. Why not? But somebody comes in and presents you a shoebox to rethink. That can be an extremely challenging and enriching project. So I don't have, besides wanting to be a part of this important role that design has, which is to continue to evolve ideas and to push their adoption out there, as I was saying. I don't just want to be a part of that. I think my job is going to keep changing. I think my company is going to keep evolving. I think we're going to keep being involved in things that are that we don't even know now. See what I mean? That we don't even know about now, that are going to be enlightening. So I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Well, I was at the Jamscape event Wednesday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You went at night?
Yep, I did.
It was a little bit crowded.
It was a little
crazy.
crowded, yeah.
Did you have a chance to see it when it was a little bit more calm?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Okay,
It went
good.
between the people coming in and out. It was a bit of a jam, but it was great. It was great fun.
Yeah.
And generally, this area, the new Lambrate area, is very interesting. I don't know if you've been around, seen some things.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And how do you feel about it? Is it?
No, I like the area. It looks a little bit like, like Tribeca in New York. It's kind of like bigger, more contemporary buildings, mixed in with a humble neighborhood. What I like about it is that it feels less commercial than Zona Tortona.
Right.
I think, as everything that is just starting, there's some great and there's some so-so stuff around,
Right.
but that's everywhere. A little bit less, sort of commercial traffic, I would say. So I think it's. I'm glad. I mean, we picked that area as a bit of a challenge to ourselves, and taking a little bit of a risk,
Right.
putting the exhibition there. But overall, I was there just half an hour ago,
Right.
and I was DJing on the iPad with all the different units. which is something I like to do when there's not too many people, because really people then get really kind of puzzled and surprised by the structures that are blasting sounds. And the reception was great, and the people walking around were great.
Well, great. Well, Yves, thanks a lot for having us. And
Absolutely.
Your chair looks wonderful. I hope the best.
Thank you.
And
Me
hope
too.
to see you soon next year, maybe, or
Okay.
even sooner than that.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.